I think somebody's been using the studio. Our next story, all of our geniuses today could not stop themselves with just one charge. Well, what do we have here? Some big pick-em-up trucks, some four-wheelers, a bunch of mud. Oh man, if I didn't know any better, which I never do, I would think this is going to be another episode of Florida Grown. Let's get to it. Sneaking up on me? Hello everyone. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Welcome back to the channel. Of course, it's another wonderful weekday. I don't know how I'm getting so lucky. It's not like fall, it's more like springtime here. I'm not complaining. We should be getting tons of water every day. This is our rainy season, but lucky enough for us, for somehow it's just passing us by. So, thought it'd be a good day to take advantage of being outside. It's been so damn lovely. And as I was going through my stories, I noticed that this week there were quite a lot of stories, all from the police department. So, we will be calling today's episode of Florida Grown from the Police Files. Oh, that's right. Every one of our stories today comes from a 911 call or a police interaction. But let's get right to it. Our first story comes to us via 911. And actually, from my own home county, Pasco County, Florida. Like I've described to you in the past, my particular county has a lot of good old boys, redneck, country folk, whatever you want to call them. But a lot of really sweet, simple, probably less of an education than a lot of people in this country, country folk. The country folk are plain and simple. They kind of look at everything, you know, A, B, C, just the way it should be. Try not to complicate things. Well, this particular story has to do with a gentleman calling 911. We all know 911 is the number you call in an emergency, some kind of break-in, a murder, you see something, 911, right? You probably have a different number if you're in another country. I think it's 711 in the Netherlands, and it's a 11 in most countries. But anyway, our good friend decides that he needs to call 911 because he's the victim of a crime, a theft, and actually knows who did it. It was his roommate. That's right, his roommate had been stealing from him. So you may ask yourself, Andy, how is this any kind of story? When somebody steals something, of course that person that's been robbed would call 911. Why wouldn't they? Especially if they know who the criminal is. But, you see, it's a little different. The particular item that was taken from my fellow Pasco Countyan would be his pot, his weed, his drugs, his smoke. You know, the stuff that's against the law. Yeah, illegal drugs, yeah, that. Yep, our Einstein must have been so high, he decided he would call 911 to report his roommate for stealing his marijuana, for stealing his weed. And, you know, 911, they kind of have a good sense of humor in the beginning, and I thought it definitely had to be a prank. No one could be that ignorant. But it seems that our neighbor was very persistent. Actually called 911 over a dozen times to continue to complain why they had not sent an officer out. So, being the diligent police force they are in Pasco County, they sent an officer out. They had the officer call him first, let him know 911 is not for this shenanigans, but he still insisted that he wants the police to intervene and come out. I tell you, man, sometimes when you smoke that pot, it must have been really good stuff. that the police even give you a break to back out of it, and you still ask them to come out. Oh, 2 thumbs up for that, come on. For that alone. Anyway, as you would think, the deputy paid a visit to our neighbor, discovered that not all of his goods were taken. Only some was taken, is what he was complaining about. And well, I mean, the rest you probably know. Unfortunately, our neighbor got himself arrested. Not quite sure if his roommate had to join him, since he A, stole, and B, was in possession of illegal drugs. Stealing never pays, remember that. But just one for all you out there that enjoy a little smoke every now and then. Perhaps you live in a country where it's legal. It's actually legal here in America, just not here in this state. If someone happens to steal your illegal drugs, just a word of advice. Don't call 911. Don't even call the police. You're just gonna have to suffer that loss. Maybe they're doing you a favor. You never know. Anyway, you like that one? They only get better. Let's see what else my neighbors here in Florida are up to. I think somebody's been using the studio. Finding Cheetos here. I don't eat Cheetos in the studio. Love Cheetos, but not in the studio. Our next story comes from us. Man. Tongue twisted today. Our next story comes to us from the Florida Wildlife and Game Commission. That is another law enforcement division here in my state. They take care of all things animal related. And this one, definitely animal related. 2 kinds of animals. The first kind, the human kind. The second kind, the alligator kind. Our reptilian friends are in the news today. Our story begins with 2 good old boys. See a theme in this today? A lot of good old boys involved. 2 good old boys just out in the evening, having a 12-pack, putting a nice buzz on, having a good time. Happened to come across a small alligator. Now, in Florida, when we say a small alligator, we usually mean something 3 feet, 4 feet. This particular animal was about almost 3 feet. According to the good old boys, he looked very sad. He was just like kind of hanging out there in the grass, looking a little depressed, like maybe his old lady left him or something. I don't know. But as a true Floridian, you know, number 1, you never drink alone. And number 2, it's your civic duty to help your friends overcome their problems, their depression, their sadness. So, being the 2 kind-hearted Floridians they were, they decided he needed some cores. Yup, some silver bullet happiness. So they came up with a plan. One would hold them, while the other one filled them up. See, I'm not sure if you know this, but alligators, or when they are feeling threatened, they'll just open their mouth. They'll sit there with their mouth open and hiss, like almost like a cat, a very deep hissing, to intimidate you to leave them alone. Hopefully you'll fear them. Well, you know, us good old boys, we know this ploy. We actually know that if they're not 5 or 6 feet, that hissing ain't gonna help, and they ain't gonna do anything. So, being the connoisseurs of alligators that these gentlemen were, they knew they had nothing to worry about. They actually were antagonizing it at first to get it to bite them, and it wouldn't. So they thought maybe giving it some beer would help. You know, when you get drunk, you get a little violent and angry, you like to fight. So, one cuddled them, while the other one filled them up. And of course, this is the 21st century. You ain't nothing if you don't videotape and live stream that. That's exactly what our Einsteins did. Knowing that the Florida Wildlife and Game Commission love to monitor Facebook and Instagram. Yeah, dumb people have have to post their shenanigans with animals. And just like in this case, get themselves caught. Because handling an alligator is considered detaining or stealing an alligator. That's a felony crime. That's a big crime here. They take their alligators and their manatees very serious in this state. And then filling him with alcohol is a second crime. That is abuse of a protected animal. Oh man, just trying to be two nice guys sharing their beer with a fellow Floridian. They're both under arrest, both out on bail currently, but will both probably be serving anywhere up to 3 years. Yeah, wildlife endangerment, they don't play. There is no probation, there is no parole, there is no slap on the wrist. You do some time, at least 12 months. So I got the cold one for you guys when you get out. That was pretty dumb, but I still think it was really funny. So, what do you think? Let me know in those comments down below. Just plain stupid? Kinda cool? Or totally outrageous shenanigans that you've never heard of before? I think kinda both. Outrageously cool, but incredibly dumb shenanigans. Well, I have one more story for you. Actually, you may recognize the person in this story, but let me let you check it out for yourself. All right, let's wrap this up with somebody you know. Our next story is about a gentleman who got himself a DUI. If you're unfamiliar with that term, because they may not use that in your country, that's driving while under the influence of alcohol, or narcotics now in America. Well, you may be surprised who was pulled over. It appears that the Palm Bay police had responded to the call of an accident, a several car accident, and upon arriving on the scene, they had to arrest Samuel L. Jackson. That's right, you heard me right. Samuel L. Jackson was out driving drunk and got into a multi-car accident. Nah, I'm just kidding. It isn't Sam Jackson from the movies, it's Samuel L. Jackson of Palm Bay. Shares a name, but obviously no relations. You see, Mr. Samuel L. Jackson was out having a good time on Saturday night, got a little carried away, and I don't know why this is, and I mean, I won't fault you for it because I've done it myself, and I never should have, but we were all teenagers once. He decided that, man, it would feel good to do some drinking and driving. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's an awful thing that risks a lot of lives unnecessarily, but it is fun. I mean, I can't lie. If you've ever done it, which you shouldn't, and don't even try it, I'm saying do not try it. But I'm letting you know, it is a lot of fun. And that's why people do it, all right? It isn't just because they're stupid, it's because it actually is fun. And if there was a place to go drunk drive, man, it would make a lot of money. But the insurance liability would suck all that up. But let's get back to the story and stay focused. Upon asking for driver's license IDs, the Palm Bay police find that they are now in possession of Samuel L. Jackson. Of course, they couldn't resist like I couldn't. Just getting on the radio and spreading the news to all their friends. Breaker, breaker, I've got Samuel L. Jackson here. DUI, he's wearing my cuffs. Woo! I'm guessing there about 20 cars showed up to that call, all to get the good laugh. But, unfortunately for Mr. Jackson, nothing to laugh about. At 6 p.m. that evening, he ran his car into two others, causing some minor injuries to all three drivers, himself included. Was arrested, breath alcohol level 3 times the legal limit. Legal limit here in Florida is 0.8. So my man was sporting a .24. Way feeling good. But not even his famous name could keep him from going to jail. Now, had he been the real Samuel L. Jackson, the Florida police are impressed with famous people, to say the least. So a real Samuel L. Jackson slamming into 2 other cars would have probably gotten the benefit of the doubt that he wasn't drinking. See, our Mr. Jackson said he wasn't, but the smell of alcohol was so overwhelming that they actually had to send Mr. Jackson to the hospital. And unfortunately, along the way, on his ambulance ride, he thought it'd be a good idea to threaten the police that he's, damn it, Samuel L. Jackson, and they should just let him walk. And that if he wasn't gonna walk, he's gonna kill the cop that arrested him. Well, threatening a police officer is another crime. Man, that seems to be consistent in all today's stories too. All of our geniuses today could not stop themselves with just one charge. They all had to push it to at least 2 felonies. 2 thumbs up for you guys. I mean, don't be a quitter and stop with 1, right? Why just spend 5 or 10 years in jail when you can spend 20? I like that way of thinking. If you're gonna go out big. But we all know how that ended. Mr. Jackson was arrested, is now awaiting trial. Threatening a police officer means you can't get out on bail. So I guess he didn't think this all the way through. But let me know. What do you think? Would you let Samuel L. Jackson go? Man, I'd probably let him go just because of his name, but that's why I'm not a police officer or a sheriff's deputy or warden of any type. But you tell me. Only your opinion counts to me. I want to know. Fill up them comments down below. What was your favorite story today? Did you like hearing about Samuel L. Jackson getting a DUI? Would you share your beer with an alligator? Or are you so protective of your drugs you would risk going to jail by calling the 911 a dozen times and even being told, cut it out, but still insist they come out? Let me know which one gets 2 thumbs up. Like always, if you have any needs, home, office, video, photography, food, medication, Amazon, our partner and friend, has everything you need from A to Z. Amazon, they got it for you, man, and deliver right to your door. By using any of those links below to purchase any of those items or any item by using the link and going to Amazon, help support this channel, gives us more money to create some future content, and shows our love for the overlord of Amazon. But y'all know how we do it here. Comment, like, subscribe. Love ya. See everybody on Friday.